Guys, we're going to look into, you know what? I think we're going to watch this MMO video. Screw it. Why we might not get another good MMO is by a guy named Jimmy. Apparently he does a lot of old school RuneScape content. So if you guys know Old School Runescape, we just played it for the first time a couple of weeks ago. And I haven't gone back to it in a while, but I might go back to it at some point because it was actually a lot of fun. There's a good MMO. There's lots of good MMOs, I think. And I think he's talking about how there was a lot of good MMOs in the past. And yeah. Remnant was so fun with your friend. Yeah, Remnant is a great game. Guild Wars 3. I don't know. We're about to find out, guys. I know a lot of MMOs. I played a lot of MMOs. So I'm really curious what he's going to say. I've never watched a video from this guy before. Let's turn this. Let's turn the CCs on. All right, let's check it out. Why we might not get another good MMO. I'm sure this will spark some great discussion. What is your favorite MMOs, guys? Tell me your favorite MMOs in chat.
I've been on this spree of trying basically every major MMO recently.
Okay.
And it got me thinking, and I might be the first one to ever have this thought, but I don't think we're getting another good MMO for a while.
I disagree completely. I think that like, I mean, we might be in a lull of MMOs right now, and I will say that. And we might have been in a lull of MMOs for a bit, a couple of years now. Since I think like M14 might be the biggest. No, it's not true. There was New World. New World was failure. I mean, okay, successful MMO. Ooh, well, this doesn't look good. But I don't think we're not going to get another good MMO. Wherever there is a hole in a genre, as in a demand, a Monster Hunter World's not an MMO. It's an RPG game with some online mechanics, and it's a great game, but it's not an MMO. Absolutely not. Lost Ark. Lost Ark is in my lexicon of failed games, Remen. Lost Ark was an MMO that was so pay to win and so fucking boring at the highest level with the end game that people just stopped playing, got filled with bots, and everyone who did play the game at a high level had to spend like fucking $5,000 for gear upgrades. Yeah, I will go. I'll actually go this far. Any MMO with pay to win mechanics will never be a good MMO. And any MMO with pay to win mechanics right now is not a good MMO. Even if it's a fun one for a certain amount of time where you're like, oh, I don't have to pay money right now. That's fine. I'm glad you like it right now. But it's not a good MMO. Any MMO with pay to win mechanics. And yes, I include World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft has the WoW token because they wanted money. When they introduced the WoW token, the World of Warcraft MMO and the game balance went out the window. And while I like Dragonflight, I will say that they're still dealing with this problem of microtransactions. And they're still dealing with this problem of pay to win. And that was the big turning point where it became an absolutely just, a downside of an MMO. And I mean, it's still at the top, but it's really at the top. And I say this as someone who loves and adores and plays a lot of World of Warcraft still. Well, I did before my computer died. And it's because of Classic World of Warcraft, Season Discovery, all these different iterations has revitalized the World of Warcraft player base. And it's not World of Warcraft that is good. It's the fact that there's like 5 different versions of World of Warcraft right now. There's like 5 different versions that you can play. There's WoW Hardcore, Classic Hardcore. There is Wrath of the Lich King Classic. There is Season Discovery. There's WoW Retail. Is there one I'm missing? I think there might be one I'm missing. But there's 4 to 5 different versions of World of Warcraft. And that is why the WoW numbers are higher now. Now, I'm very glad because, I think choice is really good. But I think World of Warcraft Classic might have been the most recent really good MMO. Like, just perfect MMO. Like, really good MMO. I think that's a prime example of a good MMO. Yeah, EverQuest 2. Yeah, EverQuest 2 is a lot older, but absolutely, I loved EverQuest 2. I grew up on EverQuest 1 and 2. I played a lot of those back in the day. Ever 14. Ever 14 is good in many ways, but I don't consider it a truly good MMO. Because Ever 14's microtransaction shop is absolutely dog shit. Any MMO that takes out visual progression in terms of you have to buy shit instead of, being able to earn everything in the game is automatically a lower tier of MMO. That is inherently a design flaw. I consider that a massive design flaw, personally. Miss Pandaria? Yeah. Miss Pandaria is having a remix. I don't know if you heard about that, Neon Knight. And Indaro, welcome, my friend. It's good to see you. And Bearded, welcome, buddy. Yeah, we've been on for about 2 hours with some news. Welcome. D4 is decent. D4 is an ARPG. It's not an MMO. It has MMO mechanics, but it's not really an MMO. And D4 has major
Other games
issues.
that come out, they follow a very similar life cycle. A big mountain slope. You start out at the top, everyone's talking about the game, and it kind of...
Anytime a game comes out and the launch is bad, and then you're like, hey, devs, why did you do this? You nuked your best time to sell the game. And then they're like, oh, don't worry. And then, some of the people in the player base was like, don't worry, it could be another No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky's situation where it started off high, had a massive dip, and then went all the way back up again, even higher than before, is like a once in a billion opportunity. That type of thing never happens. Never, ever, ever happens. Except for once in a billion times. And every game that is coming out these days relies on becoming a situation where it becomes a No Man's Sky. Like Dragon's Dogma 2. The gameplay is great, but I still can't play Dragon's Dogma 2. But before my computer broke, I could hardly play Dragon's Dogma 2. I was on minimal settings because of how bad the PC port was in terms of performance. People still can't get 30 FPS in certain sections of the game. And so they're relying, and a lot of people are like, don't worry, it'll get better when they fix the performance. I don't know, man. It's been over a month. They still haven't touched the performance. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. We'll see. You got to upgrade your RAM and you still crash in certain areas? Yeah. That's, you know what I call that, Christina? A dog shit game. That's what I call it. Dragon's Dog Shit 2. Because the gameplay is great. I really enjoy the game. However, it doesn't matter how good the gameplay is. If it has these kinds of huge issues with the game, it's a dog shit game. I'm sorry and you still love it? Yeah, and you can still love it. I don't mind that. Dude, I love it. Christina, when the game works and I'm able to actually play it, I love it. It's great. But besides that, I can barely play the game. And it's just this glaring issue. It's just so dog shit. And you know the reason, Christina? The reason I'm being so harsh on Dragon's Dogma is because Capcom, again, released it too early just to hit their fiscal year end. Fiscal year end for Capcom was March of 2024. That's why Dragon's Dogma released in March of 2024 and with microtransactions. They did it because they wanted to hit that fiscal year end. And they did it only for money. And so we got a lackluster product, so their financials would look better. So I hate them even more because of it. The writing is so what? Is that good or bad, Bearded? I think the writing for Dragon's Dogma is dog shit. I'll just toss it out there. I think the writing of Dragon's Dogma is completely fucking lackluster. Yeah, bad? Yeah, I agree with that. Dog shit game with that price tag. Exactly, Neon Knight. And with microtransactions, and they did it early so they could hit fiscal year end, which gave us a lackluster product. And so everyone in the Dragon's Dogma community that has been able to play the game and likes it a lot is like, don't worry, it'll be another No Man's Sky, man. It'll be really good when it gets fixed. I don't give a fuck. I don't know why people are relying on the game to get better in a month or 3 months or whatever. It's not going to happen. Skull and Bones? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Scaleless, I completely agree. Skull and Bones is another prime example of a game that releases in a broken state. And this happens a lot with MMOs. So I was talking about the peaks and the valleys and stuff. And this is what a lot of MMOs rely on, and it'll never hit that peak again. The chances it hits that peak is possible, but it's extremely, extremely, extremely rare. Yeah. No Man's Sky was crazy situation all around. Correct, exactly. Cyberpunk is another example of the rare time it's happened. The very, very rare time it's happened. Completely agree. That is another example, though. You are right. But extremely rare.
It just slopes down and loses its player base over time. I mean, it's a typical life cycle for a game, very natural. MMORPGs, on the other hand, follow a very different looking life cycle. They come in all shapes and sizes. They might start out with a bang. They might start out at the bottom and work their way up. But
yeah. FM14 is the example here where this happened, but it is a rarity for any game to hit like the No Man's Sky type of deal. But FM14 is one of the only games where they've been able to do this as an MMO. The fact that it started off as trash, it had the revamp, got really popular, and then it got even more popular because of the quality of various parts of the game, which a lot of people were craving. It's like a perfect storm. In a good way. It's the rare perfect storm of things going right for a game where FM14 became like one of the most popular MMOs on the planet. So yeah, this is an example. Absolutely. FM14. I know I just called it I just kind of like gave it a lot of negative feedback a few minutes ago, but I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm saying certain aspects of it hold it back. I guess they listen to the community. Yeah, exactly. Usually, but Jesus was horribly bland. Yeah, exactly. Halo Infinite, apparently pretty good these days. It was so catastrophically bad on launch. It led to Microsoft buying Blizzard to get some decent brands in their stable. I don't think those are directly related, Scaleless. Like Microsoft's been buying companies for like the past 10 years. So I don't think it was directly on the thing. But I will say I'll agree with you on the other part where Halo Infinite launched in a terrible state. And while it is better now, it was in such a borderline unplayable state for a very, very long time. It was extremely, extremely lackluster for a Halo game and kind of puts the nail in the coffin for 343. I could talk about the Halo series like all the live long day. Oh my God. Yeah. Dude, the travesty of the past several Halo games releasing in like terrible states and like just being an absolute blow to a community that absolutely adores their game. And there's definitely a market for Halo games. Oh my God, man. We all have a Halo-sized heart. A Halo-sized hole in our hearts right now. Because we haven't had a truly good Halo game since what? I'd say Halo 4. Like, I think Halo 4 had its issues. But I think Halo 4 is technically still pretty good. Halo 3 was really good. Like, Halo 3 was like perfect game. But like Halo 4, that was like the start of the downside, but it was still like a good game. I'll say that. Arc World, before they added pay to win. Yeah, whenever any company, any MMO adds pay to win, it becomes a worse game. Exactly. BDO, yep. BDO is a dog shit game. BDO has pay to win, it's a dog shit game. Any game that has pay to win is a dog shit game. I'll just call it out like it is. Yeah.
Basically, the way you know if an MMO is good and it had any sort of success, long term, over the span of many years, it kind of looks like a real fucked up EKG. Like it's the game's pulse or something. Never healthy or stable.
Every time there's a major patch, the numbers go up. Every time there's an expansion that comes out, the numbers go up a lot. Things like that. Yeah, exactly. This is correct. This is correct.
But it's there, which is what counts. It's been quite a while since we've seen a real banger of an MMO. It kind of feels like the MMO industry has
let's see the list, guys. World of Warcraft at 138.9 million people have played it at some point, essentially. Not very accurate, but it'll do. Yeah, I agree with it. 53 million for Final Fantasy 14. Yep. Old School Runescape holding the number 3 mark with 48 million. Yep. ESO is a very good game. Yeah. Guild Wars 2. I've never played Guild Wars 1 or 2. You know, I've never played Guild Wars 1 or 2. I heard many good things, but I've never played those games. I've never, ever played those games. Holy smoke. Holy smoke, man. Holy smokes.
It's just been this game of King of the Hill, and the ones at the top have ascended so high
Yeah,
that
I heard it was
there's
good.
really no catching up to them. It's really hard to imagine them being dethroned, and there's not going to be many that try. Because not only is developing a massive multiplayer online role-playing game one of the hardest things you can do as a video game developer, but it's also probably the dumbest thing you can do. We can't go into something like that until...
I don't know, man. Like, the thing is, okay, here's a game design problem. The problem is a lot of game developers have massive egos. And so part one of the problem is true. It is extremely hard. The barrier of entry to make an MMO is extremely high because it costs so much money to make an MMO and it requires a lot of content. So on that level, I completely agree with this guy. He is spitting facts on that first part. And the problem that comes from it is related. In order to be able to have that much money, in order to be able to develop an MMO, a lot of times you got to kiss some toads and you got to sell your soul by making bad deals with publishing companies, with funding companies and stuff, where if you have a venture capitalist give you $100 million to make your MMO, you're going to have to add microtransactions to the game. And it is just going to happen. Or you're going to have it filled with ads everywhere. Or you're going to have, all of these other major pain points, which ends up ruining the game. And in order to make the MMO, you have to add things that ruins the MMO. MapleStory's always been a dog shit game, though, tactical. It's always been a dog shit MMO. We loved it because we were kids and we didn't know any better. But it's all for pretty much, what is it, like the last 15 years, it's had pay to win. It's a dog shit game. And so the ingredients, okay, you know what, guys? Here, let's write a new note. We're gonna bust out the notepad. We're gonna make a brand new note. That's how serious I'm taking this conversation. What does it take to make a good MMO? Because his entire thesis is we'll never get a good one. So I think the place to start is, what does it take to make a good MMO? One, gameplay. It has to have really good gameplay. Yeah, the ingredients. Exactly. Really good gameplay, good mechanics, whether it's whether it's tab targeted, whether it's action MMO. I mean, that doesn't really matter. I mean, I have my preferences, you have your preferences, everyone has their preferences for what kind of gameplay they like in MMO, but it has to be good. Whatever it is, if it's action oriented, it has to be really good action oriented. If it's tab targeted, like World of Warcraft Classic is really old tab targeting, right? And it's still one of the most played games. Why? Because it was really good. They made it really well. The entirety of what killed EverQuest 2 was because World of Warcraft came out and it was just simpler and really fun and just really clean and really good and really well made. That's it. That's all it was. And that's all it took. And it wasn't even really that well. Like, it wasn't like giga well made. It was just the best made at the time. Like, dude, if you go back to people's streams and like YouTube videos of playing World of Warcraft originally back when it first came out, I remember when I first played World of Warcraft, dude. When I first played World of Warcraft, I considered it a success when I had 25 FPS. Like, I was like, yeah, I can actually play this game when I have 25 FPS. And it would regularly go down to like 10. Why? Because all of our computers sucked. The netcode sucked. Like, it was rough, man. And, those things got ironed out. But, like, the gameplay was so good, it superseded that. Okay, number two ingredient to making a good and successful MMO, guys. Number 2, a good non-failed launch. If it launches in a broken state, and it launches in a broken state where it has, like, massive bugs, people can't play, certain issues like that, it's going to never launch correctly, and the game will never hit the peak that it could hit. This happens a lot with all kinds of games now. We always, like I was just talking about Dragon's Dogma and everything like that, those are games with a lot of really huge issues at launch. And as a result, those games will never hit the peaks that they should have. Because if the quality of the gameplay and stuff is good, it doesn't matter how good it is if the launch sucks. It doesn't matter. Number 3, no MTX. Let's start with no pay to win. Okay, yeah, no pay to win. If there is a single pay to win in an MMO, it's going to fail. It's just going to fail. Every single MMO with pay to win that is successful right now, that is shat on their morals and that they ever had, and they started to put pay to win in the game, they're inherently a lesser MMO now. Even if they're still a success, they're a success because of what they did beforehand. We're talking at launch. If there's pay to win at launch of an MMO, like Lost Ark, it's a dog shit MMO. I'm sorry. It is a dog shit MMO. I don't care. People can hate me for this. I'm just spitting facts. Don't hate the player, hate the game. It is just facts. Number 4, limited, extremely, can't spell, any other MTX. And I'm talking like when an MMO like FF14 has a massive store with huge microtransactions for really cool skins, and you can't get those skins in the game. The only way to really get them is by buying them. This is an inherent limitation of the game. Now, the game is good enough that it launched in a good state, and they only really added the store later on and, really filled out the store as it kept going and everything like that. But when it launched, it didn't really have that huge of a store. And the gameplay was good enough that people got hooked on the game. But if it has a very extensive store for microtransactions at the launch, and you can't get those skins or equal skins or good skins in the game as gameplay, that is going to make the MMO fail. Why? Why is it going to do that, chat? Do you know why? Because we all love looking cool. And visual progression in a video game is extremely important. Sorry, in an MMO is extremely important. Why is the microtransactions in Diablo 4 so extensive, but still not really a huge detractor in the game? Why? It's because I'm a barbarian main. And if my barbarian is wearing like some weird loincloth and has a giant sword and is like, wearing like fucking like leather pants or something like that, and it's like ripped up and he's like, his bare chest is showing, I don't care what else he's wearing, man. There's like 50 different things that'll look great on my barbarian. I don't give a fuck. And it like every single thing changes what your character looks like. And a lot of the stuff looks really cool. I don't have to buy a skin for the barbarian at all. I don't know about the other classes, but for the barbarian, I've never felt the need to buy a microtransaction in Diablo 4 at all, in any way, shape, or form, for any skin or anything like that. So I don't buy any skins, and I don't feel pressured to do so. And also the game is expensive enough that it doesn't need it, but like straight up, that's why. Thoughtbot? What about Thoughtbot? Bugs and MMOs weren't there for bugs if not for the WoW plague. Yeah, exactly, Aku. True. The next ingredient. Is there any ingredient I'm missing, guys, for making an MMO have a successful launch? I'm talking about like the meta level, like this large level. I think lore might be part of it, but like lore and story, I think lore and story are important ingredients, but it's not a vital ingredient to make sure a game succeeds. These are the ones that it needs. Any upcoming MMO needs these 4 things to succeed. And every single person who's made an MMO recently that has failed has fucked up one or more of these things. You want to talk community? Community is something that's built. I'm talking about at launch. I'm talking about the launch of a game, Remen. Now, keeping a game healthy, community is a big thing. Balance is a big thing. Those types of things are a huge thing. But, 2 sentences go. Oh, no, I can't. We've been talking lots, Night Mage. Welcome, buddy. Lots of fun talking. And we're talking about MMOs right now. But yeah, I would say that so far, these 4 are the important ingredients for any MMO. Properly built world. Got to connect properly. I mean, I put that into a good non-failed launch. Like, if you have, like, loading screens that are 10 minutes and then you crash in the middle, that's part of a bad launch. Chumbus. I agree with you. That's, like, part of both gameplay and a launch. But I'm the reason I'm bringing this up, guys. Give me any MMO that has launched in the past decade, any MMO, and I will tell you out of these 4 reasons which one it fucked up on and why it's not a good MMO. Every single MMO, I can tell you any one of them. Lord of the Rings Online added pay to win, and when it added pay to win, it became more dog shit. Besides that, you know, it launched pretty well actually. It never had like a huge hype. But, you know, it was still pretty good. It had a niche community, and that's fine. An MMO having a smaller niche community is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. WildStar? I don't even remember WildStar. WildStar failed within like 6 months. Ton of respect for the source material, yeah. And the gameplay for Lord of the Rings Online, I played Lord of the Rings Online for a solid chunk. Lord of the Rings Online is a really good game. Lord of the Rings Online has a lot of love put in the game. And I think before the fact that now that you have DLCs that you have to really like pay a lot of and everything like that, I think that massively detracts from it. But when Lord of the Rings Online came out, everything was really good. Like, I loved it. It just, you know, it was relatively niche. And there was no real reason to play it over World of Warcraft. So maybe that was a slight failing on the launch and a slight failing on the gameplay. They just didn't launch in the state and with the gameplay needed to really overtake World of Warcraft. But the fact is, Lord of the Ring Online is still one of the top 10 MMOs today, probably. What is it? Let's see. Let's do a let me Google a an MMO ranking. MMO ranking today. It's still on the list. And I can tell you that much, which is very good. Because a lot of games, both newer and older, have completely died. So people still play Lord of the Rings Online. Baldur's Gate 3. Oh, okay, this is counting like fucking single player games. Come on, man. What is this list? Continue to the full list. RuneScape nailed the monetization. I mean, dude. This is why games journalism is dead. This is why. It's so dog shit. Best MMOs. No. What is all? Is there a list of every single current MMO and like the population? That's what I'm trying to find right now. Okay, please help find this. I would appreciate it. Steam? That's only Steam. I need something that's not just Steam. Maybe MMO stats. Let's try MMO stats. We can check this. This is including like Minecraft. See, this is... What is this, man? Roblox? Roblox is... Oh my god. Apex is counted as an MMO on this list? What in the world? Estimated number of players based on social insights. Bloodborne? This list is dog shit, man. MMOstats.com. That's what I'm on. This is not a good list, though. And also doesn't give, like, an actual population. Where is the actual population? Do I have to open this separately? Bloodborne's the GOAT? No, Bloodborne is a great game. It's not an MMO, man. Okay, so if I click the link for each one, it'll give me an estimated daily players. All right, this will work. This will work fine. This will work fine. So, 29,000 daily players. This game is not a failure. This long, this late. When did this game come out? It came out, what is it, 11 years ago, 12 years ago? And it's still alive. With 29,000 players, this is very good. Like, this is a good game. This is a good game. So, yeah, this is fine. All right, okay, so give me any other MMO. Give me any other MMO. We can see if it's alive, and we can see the amount of people playing it relatively.
That's Temtem on here. Are you fucking kidding me? Ingress? Ingress is a mobile game. What are you doing? What is this? Rift? Let's see if Rift is on here. Okay, so Rift is not on the list yet. Rift died, though. Like, Rift completely died. Did Rift have pay to win? Okay, it only went to top 100. Drew, welcome to the stream. We got our first raid of the night. How are you doing, Drew? Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is so good to see you. All of our lovely new friends. I'm Captain Gorgie. I do believe in the power of positivity. Love making new friends. And I'm a variety streamer on Twitch. As you can tell from my name, Corgis and Captain America are my two very favorite things. We do full, awesome, wonderful variety every single night. 51 months in a row, actually more like 52 months in a row of every single night variety gaming vibes. Loads of great games, loads of good talks, loads of fun times of every single genre. We do League, we do open worlds, we do RPGs, we do action games, narrative games, silly games, and party games, strategy, and simulation games galore. A lot of first plays, a ton of hard modes, and even some challenge runs, particularly with roguelikes and Soulsborns and platformers. But more than almost anything else, wonderful, fantastic, awesome horror. We also do D&D on Wednesday nights. We love to showcase indie games. We love to showcase AAAs and everything between. And we do a lot of stuff with MMOs as well. And an absolute boatload of wonderful Just Chatting discussions. So welcome, welcome, Shadow Storm. How you doing, buddy? What kind of games do you like to play, watch, and enjoy? We're doing some Just Chatting right now. Last stream I saw was Fallout 3. Yeah, we were playing Fallout 3 a few nights ago. We've been regularly playing Fallout 3 in New Vegas recently. I do love Elden Ring. My computer is dead, so I'm not being able to play Elden Ring for a month. But as soon as I get a replacement computer, I will be playing more Elden Ring. So, Shadow Storm, do you like Souls, my friend? We love the Soulsborne games. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Drew, tonight we're doing a lot of awesome Just Chatting. And we're talking about why we might not ever get another good MMO. So in that discussion right now, we've been talking about, this is a bit of a Just Chatting segment, where we're talking about what goes into making a good MMO. And we're kind of comparing other MMOs and all kinds of stuff. Are you having a good night, my friend? How was Elden Ring for you? Was it a first-time play? Shadow Storm, what games do you like to play, watch, and enjoy? If you enjoy the good vibes, feel free to join in on the conversation as well. All of my discussions are very open forum style, where we discuss together and, you know, we really dive into a topic all together. It's one of my favorite things to do these days on stream, especially with a broken computer, because I can do this, you know, kind of anytime with whatever kind of resources I have. So welcome, 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 Shadow Storm, and the lovely Drew, and everyone from Drew's community. And all of the love, Drew. You deserve all the love. You're amazing. Thank you for trusting me with your community tonight. Done 3 playthroughs, new game plus. Nice, Drew. Hell yeah, buddy. That is awesome. Yeah, my playthrough on Elden Ring, whenever we get back to it, is a first playthrough. So yeah, exactly. We're doing the first playthrough from beginning to end to get ready for the DLC. And we will be putting it up on the YouTube as well. So I don't know if you're, I don't know if everyone's following the YouTube, but if you're not, check it out, share with your friends. We're about to hit 150 videos on the YouTube channel, which I'm very proud of. Loads of fun stuff. Absolutely. Shadowstorm, are you here, my friend? I would love to get to know you. Hello, hello, hello. All right. So yeah, these are the ingredients for a good MMO. And any MMO that is launched has failed, in the past decade especially, has failed one or more of these things. Lost Ark. Pay to win. So it failed on that. And that's why Lost Ark is a dog shit MMO that has failed. New World. New World had a good launch, but that's because as soon as people got to the end game, they realized how bad the game was. So it failed at the gameplay. And oh my god, the gameplay of New World, man. When you're alone on the map and no one's around you and you're like hitting a mining node or whatever, a rock, it's really cool. It's really, really cool. Lost Ark failed in the West? Oh, no, it failed in the East as well, Night Mage. Lost Ark, if you look at the number right now, it's steadily decreasing. Why? The game is dog shit, and it's pay to win. It's failing all around, bro. Completely. because a lot of the non-West sources don't cover the amount of bots they have, Night Mage. So the numbers look better than they are. So it's a failure all around, in general, for sure. Now, did it fail a lot faster in the West? Yes, completely. But like it's still failing all around. But yeah. New World, one of New World's biggest issues is the engine of New World is absolutely horseshit. And I said this from day one. Anytime I was in a situation where there were more than 10 characters on the screen, you A, couldn't see anything, and B, there was input lag, and you couldn't actually hit anything. And then guess what? When they did the new updates for New World, they added pay to win. They added a way to buy in-game money, and they added microtransaction shop. Microtransactions looked a lot cooler than any of the in-game items you could get. So it kind of did all four things. And no one plays New World. No one plays New World. The engine for New World was a sad thing. I know. They were in the process of building their in-house engine. What do you mean? Night Mage. That is their in-house engine. It's called like Lumberyard or something. Yeah. Dog shit Lumberyard. Dude. New World's engine is in-house, and that's why it sucks. Cryosplit engine, we're going to use that now. Yeah, they built it off that. Yeah, exactly. It's so bad. It's so bad. Oh my god. But yeah. There's what other MMOs launched recently that is so bad? Pantheon Online is just bad in every way. Like, I don't know, have I ever showed you guys Pantheon Online? I haven't played it, but like I've watched some videos on it, like alone and stuff. Dude, that game is so bad. Carnage spent like several $1 million or like $1 million or something. He spent a lot of money backing the game, and the game ended up being so bad in one of its alphas, he literally just stopped playing it. And he's like, yeah, these devs don't know what they're doing. I'm done. Pantheon is public release though. It's still close. Yeah, no, it hasn't fully released yet, but it's on the way. It's on the way to it, Night Mage, and it looks really fucking bad. Star Wars KOTOR MMO, Star Wars The Old Republic. Yeah, Star Wars The Old Republic, the gameplay is quite rough. Like, anyone who plays Star Wars The Old Republic right now, you are literally regressing in terms of gameplay by like 20 years. And that is why, like, even though it has some really cool mechanics in it, and like the crafting is really cool, and there's like the storyline is really cool and everything like that, the gameplay is so rough. And there's no way it'll ever even hit any remote peaks. Though, you know, for when it launched, it did pretty good. But it did fail. Like, it's kind of just a closing game, if not it's closed already. So that, you know, that substantiates my point. That's exactly what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, going back to the salient point, guys, we might not get another good MMO. I think this is wrong. However, I think he's just been beaten down by all the releases that he sees these issues in every single new MMO. And that is why he thinks we're not going to get an MMO without these issues. We can get an MMO without these issues. There absolutely can be. But we're all relying on like Ashes of Creation, or like what's it called, the Riot MMO, which has, you know, been restarted in development completely. So who knows when we're ever going to get that game. But like, there is possibilities for good MMOs, but the devs have to stop themselves from having these four issues, and this is the limiting factor. Now, Ashes of Creation, the gameplay looks really good. And it's only, the Alpha 2 has not even started yet. The good non-failed launch, we're not even close to that, but they have really good plans, so hopefully that works. There's zero pay to win in Ashes of Creation. Zero. None. Ever. And hopefully they stay to that, but that's what they said. And limited MTX. It has an MTX store, but it is skins, and you can get a lot of skins in the game, and they've showcased the quality of the skins in the game that you get from fighting bosses and stuff, and they look so good. And I'm like, all right, you know, maybe this can, you know, jump the hurdle of not hitting any of these. And I think the big reason why is it has up in development, and so we've seen the development from the very beginning stages of Ashes of Creation. They've taken their licks whenever they've had a misstep, and they've responded in kind and make sure that they're not having these issues later on. So they've improved all these things, and they're only in early alpha. So I think that's one reason that Ashes of Creation looks so good. But every other upcoming MMO has problems with one or more of these things, and it's like a drastic problem. And it's because of the devs. If the devs are able to jump those hurdles, not have microtransactions, not have pay to win, have a decent gameplay, not release a broken dog shit, half-baked piece of shit that needs to be in the oven for another month, there can be another good MMO. It's just they have to get over their ego. They have to get over the publisher's ego. As you know, certain things, it's not always their fault, but it's always down to one of those four things. That's my point. Let's see what he says.
Till I tell you about something that someone's going to pay me to tell you about. So, 2023 was full of health issues for me, which led to a lot of involuntary weight loss. It wasn't fun. So this year I've made it a priority to make sure that I'm getting everything I need for both mental and physical health. And AG1 is helping me do just that. It's got 75 different vitamins and minerals that support body, brain, and gut health.
I've never heard of AG1.
To keep healthy. And one thing I love about it that combats visible signs of aging, which is incredibly important for me as Jagex continues to release quest after quest, making it impossible to end my series. AG1 can also help boost focus.
It's like I'm getting too old for Old School Runescape.
Sustaining energy throughout the day, and after a while of taking
that's
I noticed that I was not clawing and scratching for caffeine throughout the day. I just put water into the little bottle here. I do 8 ounces of water because it actually tastes good. I don't need to water it down at all. I shake it up a bunch, like get my cardio in for the day, and I drink it. It's a very easy process. As someone who's trying to be super mindful of nutrition,
he has a very animated face.
I highly recommend giving AG1 a try. You can try it for yourself by clicking the link in the description, and you can get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Big thank you to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. The thing that got me thinking about this the most came from a situation that's been kind of brewing up over the last 3 years. In June 2021, Riot Games put a post up on their website calling for any game developers that are wanting to enter the world of MMORPGs with them. And this was amazing news because it's pretty common knowledge at this point that Riot Games tends to not miss. The things they've been making, pretty good. Well, the MMO community was welcoming them with open arms. If you've kept up with the MMO world in the last 3-4 years,
dude, we were so excited for the Riot MMO. I mean, but the problem is, like, you know, it's kind of like what is the term called? Act of God. So there's a term in business and in like engineering and construction where like things are under warranty. Not warranty is the wrong word. Like it's like, you know, guarantee that it's not going to break and stuff, except for like act of God, like a hurricane comes through and just completely fucking mows the building down or whatever. So this was like an act of God situation. It was really sad. Ghostcrawler was like the lead of the MMO. We're all super excited. Ghostcrawler, you know, was the head of World of Warcraft during a lot of the best parts of World of Warcraft. He's one of the most trusted devs. He's kind of done a lot of really, really good things. And he had like fucking 4 family members die in a row. And he's like, yeah, I got to spend time with my family. I can't make this MMO anymore. And like, it's totally understandable. But it was like an act of God situation. And then the Riot Games development team for the MMO was like, yeah, we don't really know what we're doing anymore, so we're gonna restart the entire process from scratch. And you're just like, ah, shit, man, this game's not gonna come out for 20 years. And I think, honestly, guys, I think, like, as sad as I am about the news for the Riot MMO, I think they did it smart. I think they did a good thing, because I don't want the Riot MMO to come out and it sucks, and then like everyone hates Riot and everyone hates the game and it's just a failure. I would rather they take their time and cook the game. And if they've admitted that the game is nowhere near like the development space that they need for right now, so they need to start from the beginning and change something fundamental, and they have the balls to admit it and do it, I actually think this is a mark in their direction. It's for them as a positive. That it's actually good that they're doing this. Like, it's very much like sad for us, but it is a very good thing. That means I have more trust in their development team to admit a giant mistake and be able to mitigate it and work on it in the future. This is really good. It's a rare thing for the MMO world, for sure. And welcome, Bud Spencer. Hope you're having a great night. Join in on the discussion. Happy evening.
Yeah, we're talking about
is
that
kind
right
of
now.
still waiting for that game to come along that's just going to change everything. There was no real official news released for the next 2 years. The only set in stone thing we got was that Greg Street, who was the producer of the project, was leaving the company. Pretty soon after, he announced that he was launching his own company, making his own MMO. It was just very disappointing because he was extremely involved in the community and just...
And his MMO is like super small in scale. And like this could be really cool. Like he's talked a little bit about it. We haven't really covered it, but we will cover it because apparently his MMO that he's making is like, with like, what is it, like a 1/10 of the size, and like the dev team is much smaller, and it's like these disjointed worlds and stuff, so it kind of feels a little bit more like Roblox-y a little bit, not in a bad way, but like that's how they're designing the world, and it's going to have like a lot of user-generated content and so on. So like he's doing a lot of things which like mitigates the crazy amount of work that goes into an MMO, but it's going to be a much smaller MMO, and that's cool. If it's small and it's good and it's really nicely made and everything, I am very happy to check it out, and we will play it. I will play this game if it comes out and it's good, 100%. Hell, I'll play it if it's bad, and we'll tell you about it.
Indicators that he really cared about this and was going to do his best to make it an actual game-changing, enjoyable.
And like he said, like if he didn't have like 3 family members die, he never would have quit working at Riot. He apparently loved working at Riot. He loved the company culture. He loved the MMO team. He loved everything about it. Yeah, he was actually at Riot Games for 9 years. He loved it that much. And while everyone knows about his time at Blizzard, he was only there for 6. He did a great job at Riot Games. I thought he was really cool. And like, it was just the fact that, man, just had some really bad luck. It was so sad, man. It was so sad. MMO can always grow bigger. Starting small, I think, is smart. A lot of times I agree with you in certain ways. I think certain things need to be large. But, like, you know, if the scope of the game is a certain scope and they're not overcooking certain aspects, I think it's a good thing. Yeah. Limiting your scope in different ways is a good thing. Can you imagine if World of Warcraft had released with Wrath of the Lich King instead of original vanilla? The game would have been a failure. Multiple different worlds, you're traveling to the Outlands, you're traveling to Northrend, blah, blah, blah. No, man, that game would have sucked. Absolutely. It would have been half-baked on every measure. It was a large scope, huge scope, but it was a limited scope. Kalimdor, Eastern Kingdoms. Exactly.
MMO. Obviously hope for the best. But now about a year later, there's whispers and rumors that this Riot MMO might not even be happening.
I think, like I said, this is a good thing.
The least surprising thing I've heard.
This is a good thing.
In the last
them restarting
3
development,
hours,
they know it's not working.
Riot Games has set a huge bar for themselves, which has raised everybody's expectations.
Also, I think another major thing is that Riot Games is waiting until the next technological leap, which is very smart. And the reason is they want their MMO to last forever. They want it to be the next World of Warcraft. They don't want it to be an engine that is outdated in 5 years. And we're not at the cusp yet of that like engine which will take over for the next decade. We're not at that yet. We will be, but we're not there yet. And I think that's a major, major reason why. They're kind of waiting it out. They're seeing what happens. And they're going to continue developing, but it's on the back burner now. Unreal 5 is pretty close. Unreal 5 is huge, but Unreal 5 doesn't have no issues. It still has its issues. They're still doing like a bunch of different things. Each game company that uses Unreal 5, when they're serious about it, are doing a bunch of different things to mold it to their ends and such. So that is a big technological leap. I agree. And that's why I think like Ashes of Creation is Unreal 5. And I think that's one of the reasons it looks so good. But I think Riot Games is waiting for the next one, you know? That's what I'm saying.
I can't tell you in confidence whether or not this game's happening or not. What I can tell you without a doubt is that it has been a bumpy ride behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
And if you'd like to see what Riot is most likely fearing, if you look up New World's player count history and see how that unfolded, you can
this is so sad, man. I played New World for 2 months and I loved it so much, man. Seeing this game fail was so sad. And I saw the cracks in the beta and I told the devs what it was and everything. A lot of content creators did. Dude, we didn't even get the game we were expecting.
when the first beta for New World came out, and it was the closed beta, dude, it had like survival mechanics and stuff. It looked so cool. And they didn't have any of that, man. Like all the really interesting aspects they just took out. And yeah, it was boring. It ended up being boring. Exactly, Night Mage. Yeah. The loop for the leveling was really fun. But as soon as that ended, everyone figured out how like boring the game was and how empty the game was. Exactly, Night Mage. Well said. Correct.
See just how risky it is to release an MMO
So sad to see
in the modern era of gaming. I've got around 7...
And also, it committed the cardinal sins. The gameplay was dog shit. You know, at a certain level. Leveling was fun. After that, dog shit. The game had a good launch, but it was still a very flawed launch where people could like literally put viruses into the global chat if you click the link in the global chat, and you know, all kinds of wacky shit. The gameplay was completely broken. There was people doing flying hacks and everything. Dog shit client. I mean, that's the failure in the gameplay for me. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess so. Dog shit client. Sure, we can put that in. Dog shit client / bugs, which is related to 2, 1, and 2. There we go. Minimalist MMO if you had enough time and resources. I mean, I'm not a game developer. I don't know how to design stuff. You know, I'm not an artist guy. I'm not any of these things. I'm gonna save this list, guys. I'm gonna save this list. MMO list. What makes good MMO? There we go. Saving it. There we go. Because I'm actually really liking this list. But Shadowstorm, do I give good feedback? I think I give pretty good feedback. I've done a lot of beta work, as in like, you know, I've signed up for a lot of betas since I started playing video games all the way back when. And I feel like I've become really good at giving developers a lot of feedback. And I love doing it because I just love to see games succeed. I love playing video games. All I want is a good MMO, or like a good games in general. But, you know, in terms of this discussion, I really just want a good MMO. So, yeah, I mean, if I'm able to give good development feedback and everything like that, I'm really happy to do it. I'm really happy to give any developer... Dude, if any game gives me a beta key, I'll do it. That's why I showcase so many indie games, Shadowstorm. And I don't shy away. I talk about what's good in the game, and I talk about what's bad in the game. And as long as people understand that when they give me a beta key, I'm totally fine to cover almost any game in beta. I will happily do it. Especially now that I do YouTube, because now I can make it YouTube content as well. Really wish I could get a storyboard for a dev team. I feel like I'd be able to inject so much life into games and NPCs because of my own D&D games. Yeah, Nightmage. Like, dude, I agree, man. Absolutely. Never developed an MMO. Too expensive to actively run the game for all these years. You need many players. For a single player, you don't need many players at the same time. Yeah, it depends on the scope. Like, there's a lot of small MMOs that have a niche community that love the game and is a successful game. Like Worm Online. Worm Online has like a player base of like 10,000 people, but it's like 10,000 hardcore players that have played for like 15 years. And they'll never quit playing the game until the game dies. And the game is alive. It's alive to this day. You know, it doesn't have to be huge, but the scope has to be limited for the population. I think that's the important thing. So the scope has to fit the population. Maybe, you know what? Here we go. That's a really good sixth ingredient, guys. Scope has to fit population. And that was a big part of New World. I don't think Amazon ever expected New World to launch with like 5 million, not 5, was it 2 million? I think it was 2 million people. And like the servers were broken. No one could play the game. And then all of a sudden when everyone hit endgame, 2 million people quit the game at the same time. Like that's literally what happened. And because their scope did not fit the population. Yeah, I think there we go. AGS has Amazon Game Studios. A big problem is that they keep trying to copy other stuff people are doing rather than sitting down and just making a game. I don't agree. I think they don't do it well. Blizzard has made their entire MO, their modus operandi, copying things that other games do well, making it slightly better and more polished in some ways, and putting it in their game. That is exactly what they've always done. Warcraft was stolen from Warhammer. World of Warcraft was literally stolen. Like, they took the devs from Warhammer Online and they just hired them and just put them in their own game. Dude, why do the orcs look the same in World of Warcraft as they do in Warhammer? Because it's fucking stolen. They just took the same shit and they just polished it and they released a more smoother game with a better game experience, and it was a success. They've been doing this since the beginning, and it works. But when you have to do it right, the ingredient though, Night Mage, is they had to do it right, and they did everything else correctly. And that is why World of Warcraft was so good. Warhammer has such better lore. I don't know what Warhammer's lore was like back then, so I can't really compare it. I will say, though, that Warcraft's lore, from Warcraft 1 to 2 to 3 to World of Warcraft to Burning Crusade to Wrath of the Lich King, was like just such a string of W's. Like, dude, those were so good, man. Like, those were so good, and they built upon each other so well. Like, man, I remember when I was playing through Warcraft 3, and I was like, man, I wish I could play this with other people. And then World of Warcraft came out, and I had like a boner for like a fucking month straight when I found out what World of Warcraft was, all the way back in beta. Like, I literally was hard for an entire month straight. I'm not even kidding. Like, I'm not making this up. This is straight up. The World of Warcraft lore stemmed from Warhammer. And it was basically like the bones of it were stolen from Warhammer. There's nothing wrong with that. They made it better. Not better, but like they changed to its own thing. They had a lot of detail. They had a lot of fleshed out stuff. They basically make the orcs versus humans the major part, and you know, all kinds of other stuff. It was really cool, and they did it well. And you know, World of Warcraft was all about big, hairy, sweaty men fighting big, hairy, sweaty green men, and that's all Warcraft 1 was, and that's all Warcraft 2 was. And then Warcraft 3 added the undead and the frozen throne and Gul'dan and all that stuff, and then added good ingredients to it. But it was still at its core big, hairy, sweaty men beating the shit out of big other hairy, sweaty men, which was awesome. It was really good. And yes, this is a term I'm borrowing from Asmongold, but he's correct on this. Like, dude, he's been at the beginning just like I was. There's a reason we both liked the game back then, you know? And then World of Warcraft was exactly that. Original lore built up Warcraft series before it became an MMOs, not very stolen. WoW's lore is pretty stolen. That's what I mean. Exactly, Nightmage. That's exactly what I'm saying. You're typing it better than I said it, but yeah, exactly. I completely agree with you. Exactly. It was a ripoff, but it built on each other. And like they kind of made its own thing, Neon Knight. But that's what I'm saying. I guess going back to your original point, AGS didn't have to make their own thing completely. They could have correctly stolen things from other games and just made it a good game. They just didn't make it a good game. The gameplay sucked. The engine sucked. The launch after 2 months essentially sucked. And even at launch, it had major issues that they didn't fix for like 3-4 months. Pay to win. They added pay to win to the game. Microtransactions were they look pretty cool, some of them, but some of the microtransactions were completely dog shit. And you're just like, why are you wasting, dev time making dog shit microtransactions in a shop? The client was bad. The scope did not fit the population. It didn't fulfill these other 6 things. That's the big problem. They could have stolen good things and made it better because it's Amazon. They're huge. They could have done it. They just didn't do it. That's what I'm saying. Endgame content? Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's scope, that's gameplay for me, Remen. But yeah, I agree with you.
160 hours played on New World and was a part of the community
World,
during the rise and fall of it.
Cool.
And I also saw how quickly that new and refreshing ideas can completely...
Look at how dog shit this is. You can't see anything. No one on here knows what they're doing. And there's input lag for every single button you press. in the game because there's more than 10 people on the screen at the same time. This game is dog shit. This game was dog shit from launch, and it's still dog shit.
Drain the life out of a player base if done incorrectly.
And that's why it's
game
still
design caught
dead.
up with itself.
It's a dead
Not
game.
really sure how long that game's going to be up for. Probably some of the most fun I've had gaming during its peak. And I really wish things were handled differently so that it wasn't in the condition it's in now.
Yeah.
It was a good game. With,
This was when he was leveling, and when he was leveling, he had fun. When I was leveling, I had fun. But I already could tell that there was some cracks in it, and I was like, oh boy, I hope this fixes these, and they didn't, and then everyone quit the game.
Crucial things wrong with it ended up being the reason for its downfall.
Right.
An MMO can only handle so many mistakes to the point where even a company that gets their funds from Amazon themselves can't really do anything.
Jimmy,
for you
I think his
anymore.
name is Jimmy.
Some
Jimmy's right on
sprinkles
this.
of MMO here and there. A lot of underwhelming Kickstarter
Our great hope, guys. This is like our really big hope right now for a good MMO that can actually make every ingredient here work. Ashes of Creation. This is why I'm hyped about Ashes of Creation. Good gameplay. Hopefully a non-failed launch. Their open development is so good right now that, you know, they're hopefully mitigating this. No pay to win. 0. The maker of the game, Steven Sharif, has spent millions of his own dollars. He's a millionaire who played MMOs from when he was a kid onwards, grew up on MMOs, hates how bad pay to win is in MMOs to the point that he's vowed there will never be pay to win in his game because he fucking hates it. And like, that's what it takes, man. That's what it takes. Limited microtransactions. They showed the shop and everything like that, and you know, all that stuff. Very important. You know, they're cleaning up the bugs and everything. Hopefully that fits. The scope is huge. They want this to be a World of Warcraft style population. So they're making the scope gigantic. The node system, the quest system, the trading, the in-game housing, all of these things are, oh my god, it looks so cool. Every single aspect of this game looks crazy, and it's only an alpha. Oh my god. That's why Ashes of Creation is my big hope here.
Projects,
yeah, exactly.
Permanent early
when you were lied about the
phase,
exploits,
ones
exactly.
That scam hundreds of thousands of dollars somehow. But in the last like 5 years, I think New World and Lost Ark are the only 2 MMOs that can claim they've had any kind of success. I've never played Lost Ark before. I tried looking up some stuff to get some more insight about it, but just like any MMO you try to get information on, it's players that have hundreds or thousands of hours just complaining about things, not giving any real insight.
I enjoyed it until I got to the part where everything is a daily. Yup. And it feels more like a chore than a game. Yeah, it felt like a fucking job. Yep, exactly. It's like every other there's a lot of Korean MMOs that fulfill like basically just the gameplay, and it's pay to win, and it's just, yeah, it's gonna fail. There are MMOs in the Korean MMO space which are declared failures before the game launches. And I'm just like, how the fuck? It's crazy, man. The Korean MMO world is crazy.
The casual experience of the game. What I can tell you is that it's nowhere near competing with the top dogs
even
of the
at
MMO
its peak.
world. So between Riot's situation and New World's fumble, it got me thinking, why is this so hard? What is going on?
I think I described it pretty well, but let's see what he says. How did we get here?
Making an MMO has to be the most irresponsible, stupidest
financial
idea
decision
you could ever go through with.
Yeah.
In the last 10 years, there have
here we
been
go. Oh,
20.
dude. Oh my god, I should have just looked at his list. I didn't know he had a list. Okay, WildStar is closed. So someone mentioned WildStar, that one's just closed. World of the Living Dead. I don't know what that is. That sounded dope. Jesus. I would love to play a zombie MMO. Toontown, I don't know what that is, but I guess it's a really small free-to-play game. Firefall, never heard of it. Prime World, never heard of it. Elder Scrolls Online, we discussed that. That is one of the good ones. That is one of the, you know, decently priced one. It's not even greatly priced, but is relatively decently priced. BDO, pay to win, dog shit. And it's you know, everything is just built around. It's kind of like a simulator where you buy a new character, you play a broken character,
which is the new DLC, and then you stop playing the game until they release another one. It's dog shit game. Skyforge, never heard of it. Aura Kingdom, nope. Royal Quest, it's closed, don't know it. Order of Chaos 2, I'd never heard of it. Maple Story, dog shit, pay to win. Adventure Quest, oh. Wait, Adventure Quest still exists? Wow. ESO is also considered to be the most populated MMO? Wait, what do you mean? That's not possible. Dude, it's like 4th on the list. I mean, it's really populated, but it's like 4th on the list, Night Mage. It's way behind Old School RuneScape. It's way behind World of Warcraft. And it's way behind FF14. Which is, I mean, it's not bad. It's still top 5. But ESO is definitely like number 4 solidly. It's not the most by any means. BDO's gameplay is as deep as its beauty. Skin deep. Yeah, exactly. It's skin deep. Yeah, I agree with that. Shroud of the Avatar. Don't know what that is. Boundless. Don't know what that is. Lost Ark. We have already talked about it. Camelot Unchained. Oh, God. This game does not look good. I've seen bits and pieces of it. It does not look good. Albion. Yeah. I guess this is the past decade. I could have sworn there was more games than this. Maybe I'm thinking of older games. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, nice. Brain Killer Buddy, welcome to stream. How are you doing tonight? We're discussing MMOs. Join on into the conversation.
MMOs, notable enough to make the Wikipedia page, and 12 of those are still up and running.
I probably
Obviously,
should
there's
have
been more
done
than
a
20
Wikipedia
MMOs released,
search,
but I'm
guys,
just not counting
for the
ones
population.
that Josh Strife Hayes finds buried in the deepest.
Dude, I love Josh Strife. There are 2 big content creators, like as in like, you know, similar content to mine. They stream, they play games, they do variety, they do discussions that I actually am sub to and I regularly watch. Only 2 large ones. Josh Strife Hayes and Asmongold. Those are the only 2. Belly Lars news. I'm sub to him, but he's news. I love him dearly. Awesome guy, but he's news. But like in terms of gameplay stuff, these are the only 2. It's because they're that good, man. And Josh Strife Hayes rocks, man. And yeah, his failed MMO series is so funny, man. I love it. But yeah, I agree. Don't count any of these failed, like, you know, super small niche MMOs in this discussion, really. I completely agree with his point here.
Depths of the deep web, that peaked at 23 concurrent players. They don't really count right now. It's definitely
there's only 4,500 players.
I would say when World of Warcraft went live in 2004, that is when the true golden age started. Some may say that when Ultima Online came out, it kind of changed the game. I don't really think an MMO golden age existed without WoW. It doesn't feel right.
Ultima Online was like the progenitor to a lot of games. And it wasn't the golden... It can't be the golden age if it's at the beginning. Also, does he have a link to this chart? I would love to see this chart, like, you know, be able to actually look at it. Because, like, dude, looking at game design stuff is one of my favorite things to do. I used to do this for fun all the time. Just, like, go down, like, rabbit holes of, like, gameplays and stuff. Dude, Evany is on this list? I played Evany a lot. I was actually really good. But that game was giga pay to win. But I could play it as a non pay to win player and still do okay. Post-apocalyptic. I wonder if oh god, what was that called? It was a post-apocalyptic MMO. Completely failed, but it still has a pretty loyal player base and it still exists. Hold on. I think I have it on my Steam list. Steam might not be the best way to look this up, actually. I think probably Google would probably serve us better here. Post-apocalyptic MMO. Fallen Earth. It was called Fallen Earth. That game was dope. It actually has really good game design.
WoW did for MMOs what Fortnite did to Battle Royale.
Yeah. Twitch
you may have noticed once Fortnite saw success in its little side game mode of Battle Royale that wasn't even what they wanted.
Honestly, dude, like, I think my list can apply to a lot of games. Like, Fortnite fulfills a lot of these. And that is why Fortnite is successful. It's not even an MMO.
but it fulfills all of these straight up. Yeah, Fortnite is a good game.
Their players
I don't
to try.
play it. I
Cost
don't
about
like it, but it's a good game.
55 to 100 others to emerge. Once WoW
Right.
showcased that you can build a long-term player base with as much success as it had, with as much money as it generated.
I
not
got
only
you,
with
Nightmare.
its
Yeah.
initial launch in 2004,
Which makes sense.
but with its expansions in 2007.
But it's limited microtransactions? No, it's limited because the microtransactions in the game for Fortnite, there's a lot of like ways to get them, and they're not expensive. Kids can get them. And also, you can play the entirety of Fortnite without getting a single skin. And they keep adding shit to it. And it's definitely less limit. Like League of Legends, you don't have to spend a single dime. Like, and that's why League of Legends is, in my opinion, the better game. But also, I don't like VRs. But yeah, you can farm V-Bucks. Exactly, that's what I mean. Oh, Rage, thank you for the sub, my friend. How are you doing tonight? We love you, Rage. Welcome, welcome. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. 8 months into countless more. We're doing lots of wonderful discussion tonight. Wait, you subbed for 3 months in a row? Oh my God, Rage, thank you. Holy shit, what a vote of confidence. Thank you, Rage. I hope we're having a great night, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Discussing lots of just chatting tonight. Hope you're having a great night. But yeah, I think Fortnite fits this mostly. Yeah.
I mean, how do you not convince investors to let you try and build another WoW? So once this golden age started, much like the Battle Royale boom, we also got a few really good games to emerge alongside WoW.
What did I say? Worm Online, Lord of the Rings on. Oh, Wizards 101. I forgot about Wizards 101. But yeah, that's a game that still exists. And it's limited in scope and everything. But you know, shit, man. That game has done well for itself. That game is more than made back what it costed when Wrath launched. Oh, for me, it was Cataclysm. Cataclysm broke me. Guild Wars. You know, I've not played Guild Wars, but I heard really good things. Dungeons and Dragons Online was really good. I actually have played Dungeons and Dragons Online. It was actually very, very good. Apparently, there is... Someone mentioned a Mist Online. There is a Mist Online. I don't know anything about it, but apparently there is one. Yeah. Age of Conan? Oh, Age of Conan was not good. I'm sorry.
Here, people playing them. We also got an overwhelming amount of stinkers. Some real stinkers.
Let's see if there's any I recognize. Apparently the Shin Megami Tensei MMO. I never knew about this. Pirates of the Caribbean Online. I actually have played Pirates of the Caribbean Online. It was dog shit. Phoenix Dynasty, don't know that. Star Quest, don't know that. Tabula Rasa. Yeah, I remember that game. I actually played it. Tales of Pirates, don't know that. Vanguard, nope. Dynasty Warriors, nope. Fantasy Earth, nope. I know Dynasty Warriors game. I don't know the MMO. City of Villains, yep. City of Heroes, City of Villains. I played so much City of Heroes, City of Villains. Matrix Online? Oh my God. Holy shit. I actually played the Matrix Online. Holy crap. That game had some teeth, man. Fallen Earth is not closed. This list is incorrect. I can literally launch Fallen Earth and play it to this day. Well, I haven't tried in 3 years, but 3 years ago I could play it. Yeah. So this list is not completely correct. Like, Fallen Earth is still in existence. And it's actually, if you guys want an old school, MMO with some interesting design mechanics, with actually a lot of love put into the development of the game, with like certain really good things in the game, Fallen Earth was like legit quite good, guys. Like, honestly, it never, hit any really big heights or anything, but it still is in existence. Yeah, it was a post-apocalyptic one, exactly, Nightmage. It was legit very good. I played the shit out of Fallen Earth, man. Holy smokes, that game was good. Kind of imbalanced, but like, it was really good for its time, for sure. And it's still, dude, I played it 3 years ago off stream. I had fun with it still. Re-release, AVV Reloaded. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Jade Fantasy, never heard of it. Empire Sports, nope. Hello Kitty Online, yeah. Wonder why that failed. Parallel Kingdom, Warhammer Online. Dude, Warhammer Online was actually quite good. And this got a re-release as well. Like, Warhammer Online is technically, there's a way to play it. I'm not sure exactly how or anything, but this is a game that one can play.
Around
Yeah, exactly.
Anymore. MMOs were peaking in the mid-2000s. It was
Oh,
the
wow,
thing
Rich,
to
I'm
do.
sorry.
It was the style of game that players wanted to play. Even the projects that saw short-term success
Nice.
but didn't really survive, some still to this day have community-backed projects,
I will at the end,
private
bud.
servers.
I always do
to
at the
keep
end.
the community alive. All these MMO games meant a lot.
Dude, let's go back to the Star Wars. This is why no one played Star Wars Online, and it had to, you know, do a whole bunch of loops, and it still ended up failing. This is why. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I love Star Wars, and I thought the crafting was really cool and everything, but this is why. Like, it really is. And there's other really good aspects to the game. The story is apparently really good and all kinds of stuff. But, dude, look at this gameplay, man. There's no way.
Keep the community alive. All these MMO games meant a lot to people. They proved to be this genre of game that you truly did become a part of. And even though the MMO scene was kind of slowing down in the late 2000s, early 2010s, games like Guild Wars 2 and Star Wars The Old Republic made their entry into the MMO scene and kind of picked up the stragglers that maybe weren't really happy with their games anymore or didn't really scratch the itch they wanted and were still able to give a lot of players their home base of a game. 2013 unknowingly became the grand finale of MMOs. It was the year of revival because in February we got Old School Runescape, and in
Yep. Realm Reborn. Old School Runescape. Yep.
August, we got Final Fantasy XIV, both of them existing for the sake of redemption. RuneScape's main game was at an all-time low. Final Fantasy's first MMO, like 3 or 4 years earlier, was a huge flop, so both these companies basically tried again. And now, 11 years later, it's safe to say that both of them did something right.
Kidneys and customizations,
Since then, there's been a few...
And it still has a lot of these design flaws, Night Mage. But certain other aspects of it are so strong, it you know, is able to pull through. But that doesn't mean that FF14 would not be better if those things were fixed. Like, look at the graphics for FF14. The graphics of FF14 are dog shit. I like FF14. I would like to go back and play through it. The story is great and everything like that. But the graphics and the early gameplay is dog shit. And people are like, oh, it gets better after you play the game for 80 hours and you get through the Realm Reborn. And I'm like, if I have to play a game for 80 hours for it to get to a good part, I'm sorry, it's a bad game. That's a huge pain point. There's no way I'm going to play the game for 80 hours until I have to do it for content. Like, I'm sorry, there's no fucking way. And that is why a lot of people have not even tried F14. Because the exact same reason. Guild Wars 2, yeah. Dogwater launcher, yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, Guild Wars 2 has a lot of good aspects, but their launcher is bad. Completely agreed, Neon Knight. Yeah, exactly. You always forget your password? Yeah, exactly. Is forever? Exactly, yeah.
Notable MMOs that have come out, and they did okay. Elder Scrolls Online, Albion Online, Black Desert Online. These games are online, in case you were wondering. Lost Ark, New World, but none of them...
And Albion Online is one of those games that actually has a growing player base. And it's because they have been able to tap into mobile markets, and they're not nearly as bad as other games with all kinds of other things. I've actually played Albion Online twice, and I need to play it more because it's actually a pretty fun game. It's a fun little game. It's not solo friendly. It's extremely hardcore and everything, but it has really cool, interesting depth gameplay, and it does have pay to win mechanics, but it's not super bad. So, you know, it's not like nearly as bad as BDO or anything like that. So it hits a certain niche where people do like it for very good reasons. And it's also like the graphic style is super simple. So it doesn't take that much dev resources to either make or maintain the game. So the cost of the game is not nearly as high as other games. BDO with a ghillie suit. Yeah, exactly. Wish Albion Online was more something. It wasn't what I was looking for. Got bored within 3 hours. Yeah. I mean, I actually had a lot of fun with it. I could go back to it someday.
Really
It does have its
made the
issues.
impact they were probably hoping for. It's almost as if all players interested in MMOs
Yeah,
have
exactly,
kind of
Nightmage.
found their
That's
place
why a lot of
and
people
stayed
started.
there. It really is kind of like finding your home base, and that's just where you retreat back to at the end of the day. We're all
I disagree. I completely disagree with the statement. Every MMO player right now is like 30 years old. Is like 35 years old. A lot of us are 40 years old. I'm not 40 years old, but like a lot of MMO players were playing fucking Ultima Online. All of those guys, all of those players would absolutely go back to a new MMO if it was good and not dog shit. We're all just waiting for an MMO that's not dog shit. And we will go back en masse and absolutely deluge those servers and play the fuck out of those games. Hell, we'll probably play it more now. Because, dude, some of the people who played those early MMOs were 30 years old back then when they played Ultima. And now they're going to be 60. Like, shit, man. They're hitting retirement age. And they will play that shit like crazy. Oh my god, dude. I think that the MMO player base it's a huge demand and a complete lack of supply. I do not think that we just have too much dog shit games, and we don't want to play a dog shit game. The reason I took so long to play Old School Runescape was I thought it was dog shit. And now that I played Old School RuneScape, I realize it's not dog shit. It's actually really, really, really good. It's extremely limited in terms of, it's very slow. But, it's a good game and it deserves its time in the sun. And I'm very happy. Lack of good supply. Yeah, exactly. We have a lot of dog shit supply. Nightmare. Actually, we're running out of dog shit supply games as well, man. Do you know how hard it is to find a bad MMO now? Like, unless you go to Korean MMOs. Like, I'm talking about Western MMOs. Like, they don't make that much anymore. Like, it's because so many of them have failed. And they lost millions upon hundreds of millions of dollars. It's crazy how much money they've lost on these games. Like, shit, man. It's like they're burning their money. But yeah, that's why. I guess what I'm saying is I completely disagree with Jimmy here on this premise. People are only playing their comfort MMOs because there's nothing else good on the market. As soon as there's something good on the market, we will all go to that new game. If Ashes of Creation fulfills all of our hopes and dreams like I think it will and like I hope it will, everyone will play that game. Everyone. Dude, look at New World, man. When New World launched, everyone bought it within the span of a week. Everyone bought it, man. It went to 2 billion players. It was crazy. And that was in a week, man. Oh my god, people went crazy for that game. And then it died. But, like, that's because the game was dog shit. But, the launch was really fucking hype. And that shows how excited people were for a game. We all wanted New World to succeed. We really did. We tried. We tried to make it succeed. AOC, Age of Camelot, was supposed to release an alpha this year. Oh, I don't know. Neon, send me some videos. Google some videos on Age of Camelot. I'll cover it. If you want me to cover that game, I'll cover it. I don't know really much about it. But I will 100% cover it if you send me videos on it. I love covering MMOs.
Safe and cozy.
Oh, Ashes of Creation. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Ashes of Creation's second alpha. So not even their beta. Alpha 2 will launch this year sometime. When? We don't know. But yeah, it will launch this year sometime. And I'm hoping to get a creator key to try to play it. Yeah. I would love to.
Right,
I cover it regularly on this channel.
But even though the kings are up there on that hill, it doesn't mean they're resting up there comfortably.
Correct.
The wrong mistake could send them tumbling down at any moment. Those profitable, successful games up there, they got up there with blood, sweat, and dev tears.
I didn't agree with the first part. Like, I think it'll take a lot to dislodge any of these games. But I do agree that, yeah, it's a lot of dev tears. Like, they've iterated. Like, dude, Final Fantasy XIV was a failure for, like, what is it, 2 years, a year and a half? Before they had to literally shot in the dark, Hail Mary, try to revamp the game within 1 year of dev time to try to fix every single issue with it. And it's like one of the best success stories in gaming because it should not have succeeded in getting fixed but it did. It absolutely did. And it's like a super, super rare thing.
A lot of mostly dev tiers. We now have insight to another reason of why creating an MMO is a really dumb idea. Money.
Right. And I think I agree, but like I said, I think money is related to all these other things. Like, why are all these things busted? Because people, took the money from VCs and so on and so forth, and they were required to have certain things in their games, like microtransactions and shit, that and inadvertently made their game dog shit. Now, it's a bit of a circuitous route as to why the game became dog shit, but the game became dog shit. OSRS
Microtransactions have played a significant role in keeping these games alive. They've got to pay a staff to maintain and update and create for the game so that they keep their players there. They've got to pay for these massive servers. I don't even know how much those things cost. And also making sure that they meet the quota so that the very top executive owner of the company.
This is the big issue. This is the big issue. A lot of the gaming companies that fund MMOs are publicly traded companies. So if number don't go up, number go down, everything breaks. And all they're trying to do is make money. They're not trying to make a good game. They're just trying to make money. That is why all of these big MMOs that came out are dog shit. That is exactly why. That is why FF11, original FF14 was dog shit. It was a lot of pressures like that. A lot of big things like that. All of these things are why these games are dog shit. This guy, you could replace his face with Bobby Cockdick and see the downfall of World of Warcraft. Exactly the same reason.
Company gets the salary that they've written for themselves.
Question, is Jagex milking their players?
Oh my God.
Well, yeah, it's quite a big question.
And whatever they needed.
And the answer was yes. Because that interview was about, I didn't play RuneScape 3, but it was about RuneScape 3. I know because I watched the interview because I love gaming news and stuff. But yeah, this was about this. You can see right here, guys. Hold on, let me move my face. There we go. This is the in-game store of RuneScape 3. RuneScape 3 is one of the biggest pieces of dog shit ever, with how like microtransaction heavy it is, how pay to win heavy it is, and so on and so forth. It's called the Vault of Riches. You just buy shit in the game for like the whales in the game for RuneScape 3 are like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Like sometimes some of them every single month. It's insane.
To get there is what they got to do. Subscriptions by themselves cannot sustain an MMO. It could pay for WoW in 2007 whenever.
It can't sustain an MMO if it's price smart and if it's a good game. Absolutely it can. But it has to be a good game. It has to be a good game with a lot of people. If it's not, yeah, it won't work.
Everybody was paying a $15 a month subscription on top of buying a $40 expansion every other year. But even that caught up. They have a shit ton of microtransactions.
They got a shit ton of microtransactions not because they weren't making money. It's because Blizzard was not making enough publicly traded money because they needed their number to go more and more up, and they wanted to milk their player base. And we saw the biggest dark spot in World of Warcraft's history. I agree with some of what he's saying, but the basic premise is incorrect here. That it's because of Bobby Cockdick, and because of the other execs, and because of the stock of Blizzard. And that is all they cared about. When they cared about the game, the subscription model was enough. And it was great, and they were making massive profits. But then they decided to muck with it. That's the problem.
And obviously that's more of a problem for the MMOs that make it big and they have all of these expenses. But any game that sees this big success is going to eventually run into this problem of how do we afford to keep this going? Back at my home.
No, it's because they keep selling out and they keep making bad decisions. It's not that they have to make the bad decisions. It's that they're greedy and they choose to make the bad decisions. I'm sorry. He seems like a really nice guy. He seems very knowledgeable, but I don't think he's right on this at all.
base, I give Jagex
No game
a lot
has
of
to do
money
this.
every year through subscriptions. I pay for my subscriptions on multiple accounts, as do other people, and Jagex makes millions off of players giving them monthly subscription money. But you may have noticed while we're over here frolicking in our flowers.
Yeah, it's like I said, capitalism is not the root of all evil. The stock market is the root of all evil. Like, every bad problem with capitalism can be traced back to the stock market. Because that's when you start speculating on a company for dog shit reasons, as opposed to an actual product. You buy a product, you like the product, it's a good product, you have the product. As opposed to you're speculating on the future of it, you're speculating on their financials, blah, blah, blah. And it's absolute horseshit. And it should never have been, as big as it is. The stock market is the root of all evil.
Polls and community involvement
stand by
and
that.
fun.
100%.
Our brothers and sisters
That is a
over
hill
at
I'd die
RuneScape
on.
3 cannot say the same.
Is Jagex actually this oblivious? We're in a time where RuneScape, at least according to the majority of the vocal player base, feels like
Jesus
it's being
Christ.
neglected, and as someone who's been covering the news and following the game...
You're not being neglected if you're a RuneScape 3 player and you're paying for this shit. You're not being neglected. You're being milked. You're being farmed. You're literally a cow being milked every month for all this shit. That's what you are. You're not being neglected. Dude, you're not being neglected at all. You're being farmed. I'm sorry.
Actively for years now, I also think it's being neglected. How does a company with hundreds of employees and, according to the most recently released financial statements, £137 million in revenue, have the audacity to recolor a 3-year-old outfit and sell it as part of some kind of limited edition pack?
Because people keep playing the fucking game. If everyone stopped playing RuneScape 3, you absolute fucking addicts, they would go out of business with RuneScape 3. So stop playing it. Just stop. Just stop playing it. Stop spending money. That's all you have to do. Games die all the time when people finally hit that mark. The RuneScape 3 players are such fucking anal gaping assholes that they take it up the ass and they smile about it all the time. I'm sorry. Any player who plays Lost Ark right now is doing the same shit. This happens with a lot of games that are pay to win, and they're just taking it up the ass constantly. They're just like, yeah, give it to me more, man. Give it to me. COD players are the same way. Why is there a COD every year? It's because people play COD every year. They spend the money on COD every single year. And they say, please, Activision, fuck me harder. Please make me spend another $70 with worse microtransactions every single year. Let me take it up the ass. That's why. That is why.
RuneScape 3 has been contaminated
Gamers have
with
no
regularly
self-respect.
updated, toxic cash-grabbing microtransactions. It's experiencing increments
Stop
of
buying them.
worse. Players just begging the devs to please stop, as if the devs have any control over it. RuneScape
They do, what are you talking about? The players keep buying it. Stop buying the fucking dog shit microtransactions. If everyone stopped playing RuneScape 3, RuneScape would have major issues. And they would be forced to change. It's that simple. It's that simple.
3 is the soldier spreading it.
Stock market is not the problem. Greedy and stupid owners are the problem. No, stock market creates greed. That's my point, Bud Spencer. That's literally my point. Yeah, fiduciary responsibility, exactly. What Night Mage is describing is exactly the reason why. It's because also, like I said, you're not relying on like the quality of your product. You don't care about the quality of your product. You only care about the quality of your stock. That's it. That's why the quality of the product goes downhill when they become publicly traded. They don't care about the product. That's exactly why.
Arms protecting us from projectiles while we sleep soundly, telling the devs that we're not fond of this idea they think they're having. But what I'm trying to say is that even Old School Runescape, as one of the most populated MMORPGs in modern gaming, only exists because RuneScape 3 offers microtransactions. Because what you've spent on Old School Runescape membership subscriptions in the last 6 years, 10 people spent that same amount yesterday on RuneScape 3 keys. Those
I
are the
don't think we have enough
financial information from Jagex to figure this out. Because if I'm not mistaken, Jagex has made a massive amount of profit on RuneScape 1 and RuneScape 3. And they're making like an absolute boatload, but I think they're like, they don't add all that much content into RuneScape 1. RuneScape 1 just has like fucking, 30 years almost worth of content. Not 30, but like 20 years worth of content. So it has like a gigantic well of content. And people do like Iron Man modes and all kinds of wacky other shit. But like the game itself, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like you can't say it's unprofitable unless you have numbers of just RuneScape 1 and figuring out the cost of RuneScape 1 and seeing if it's profitable. Because I'm pretty sure, considering the level of graphics, considering the level of dev products that go in, like the server thumbprint size of how big you have need of a server to have the RuneScape 1 players playing smoothly, I don't think it's that high, man. Like, it's much lower than World of Warcraft. The graphics are much lower. The amount of things you're keeping track of on screen and everything is much lower. Everything is much lower. I don't think there's... I think if you took all the microtransactions out of RuneScape 3, you nuke RuneScape 3. You take RuneScape 3 out the back, and you tell it to look at the grass and think of the better times, and you shoot in the head, like Old Yeller or something, I think it's going to be fine. Like, I think RuneScape 1 would still make enough money. Unless you have financially prove otherwise, I think it would be fine. I disagree with this premise here.
Players that Jagex needs, not you, not me. MMOs are expensive to make, and they're expensive to maintain. Which, by the way, whoever over at Amazon Games thought that a one-time purchase of a $40 game was going to be enough to sustain a huge MMO... Well, what are you doing?
I agree with this.
Was going to happen? And
that was stupid.
Who decided?
There was no sub. It had a microtransaction store, but the microtransactions were pretty dog shit. A lot of them, no one bought them really. And but like the $40 buy-in with no sub fee and everything, like it got a lot of people in the door, but it was not a long-term sustainable thing. It was not a long-term sustainable thing.
That microtransactions were going to be your next alternative, and this is what you have in the store.
Dude, look at how bad those skins are, man. Oh my god.
Alternative, and this is what you...
This is like... Dude, who would buy this skin? No wonder they failed and they had to add pay to win in the game. Their microtransactions were much more dog shit than I thought. Holy smokes, man. Holy smokes. This is crazy.
Have in the store.
Oh my god.
They practically begged to not make money.
This is true.
What's fucking cracking, baby?
This game is so dumb, dude. Solar Pluto, welcome, buddy. How you doing? Pleasure to have you.
The biggest problem that new MMOs are going to face are
discussing
getting
MMOs.
a true player base. Not the players that are there on day one, seeing how long they can wait in a queue. Not even the ones that invest 200 hours and experience a little bit of endgame. I'm talking about the true player base. The player base that if your game shuts down, they will be on the front lines doing whatever.
I mean, well, the thing is, a lot of these games that have died, you know, they died for other reasons, and they were never really, honestly, that good. And at some point, if a game closes and the player base is not invested enough, they'll just move to another game. That's what happens.
They can to create their own version of your game, some sort of backup code to keep the community alive. Those are the...
I mean, that's like WoW Classic. WoW Classic players were so crazy, they basically played a cat and mouse game with Blizzard for years, for like nearly a decade, where they would keep making classic servers, or, you know, what ended up becoming classic, and be trying to dodge Blizzard's like DMCAs and takedown notices and possibility to sue them and everything like that. And, you know, you have to restart the process over and over and over again. And the player base did it. And they loved it. Like, they did it until Classic was made. And then when Classic was made, a lot of these servers died.
And everyone just went to WoW Classic because it was legal, it was easy, and you know, everyone enjoyed it. So yeah. So Pluto, what you been up to, my friend? Welcome. This is an example. Yeah, but what he's saying here is correct. Having a
players
truly
that
invested
you're
player base
looking
is
for.
huge.
They're there because they love the game. They're there for real. And those
Yeah.
are going to be extremely difficult to get because
And that's why EverQuest 1 still exists. That's why EverQuest 2 still exists. That's why Ultima Online still exists. All of these games still exist because that vital player base is willing to jump through hoops to make sure the game still exists. Because the game was that good. That's the kind of level of love that people have for a good MMO. And that's what people are clamoring for. But these people that are playing EverQuest 1, that are playing EverQuest 2, that are playing, you know, all these really, really ancient games, they would absolutely play the hottest new, actually good MMO. Absolutely. Absolutely. But Spencer, we're talking about generalities here. It's, if you look at a number and like the number is like 98% of people are like this and then the 2% of people are not, you can say that generalization and say that, yeah, this is exactly what this means in general. Like I've done investment work. I work in business, Bud Spencer. And so like a lot of companies get ruined by the investment process. And I can say this as a fact for like a giant number of situations. And it is a generality you can make. And the fact that I didn't do it and the fact that a lot of companies still don't do it is true, but we're in the vast minority. That's the thing. And it's just a reality of life, dude. Like it really is. And it's because of the stock market and because of how speculation works and because of how investment works. Yeah.
chances are they already have that game. They're already a part of that community. And most of them aren't going to be feeling that way about multiple MMOs.
No, that's not true. Like I said, as soon as any of these people, as soon as a new MMO player comes, a really good MMO, if it hits all the things, everyone would play that MMO. Everyone would play that MMO. Absolutely.
Point, new MMOs have to pull their player base from other MMOs. You're going to be trying to pull players from WoW and from Final Fantasy and from RuneScape and Guild Wars 2. The players that already know what they like and dislike about massive.
There's a lot of people that love old MMOs that don't play any of these MMOs because no MMO on the market hits them and really gives them that feeling. What really does hit them is other games, playing tabletops, playing fucking painting Warhammer figurines, playing old school muds that don't have numbers you can track. That's what they're playing. These are not, they're not even playing F14. A lot of these players, they're not even playing World of Warcraft. They're not even playing Classic. They're like playing all kinds of other shit. As soon as we saw, dude, if this was real, if this thing that he's talking about, that Jimmy is talking about in the video, was real, and that people wouldn't move from game to game and stuff at the drop of a hat for a good game, we would not have seen the success of Vampire Survivors. We would not have seen the success of Valheim. We would not, and I'm talking about like millions of players. We would not have seen the success of Baldur's Gate 3 or Elden Ring. As soon as any of these huge games that are actually like game-changingly good come out, even when they're not MMOs, random people will play them. People that have not played a game in years, they'll play this game. People that have not been interested in a single-player game or a turn-based game, they'll play Baldur's Gate 3, and so on and so forth. And the number keeps going. There's new players to Baldur's Gate 3 today. And the game has been out for quite a bit of time now. And, it's not concurrently playing like at the same numbers, but new people are playing the game all the time. Why? Because it's a transcendent level game. And the MMO players we haven't had a transcendent level MMO for a very, 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 very long time. And as soon as we do, everyone will play that game. And that includes a lot of the players that don't even play video games much anymore. And they're doing shit like playing tabletop gaming. They're playing D&D campaigns and stuff. They haven't touched a video game in years.
Of multiplayer online games, which means that by default, a new MMO is immediately competing with the top of that hill. Could you imagine trying to enter that space and these are the guys you're standing next to, trying to gain their players? Good luck. The best kind of player base to get for a brand new MMO is a new MMO player. Ones that haven't experienced the other ones yet, and you're going to be their first experience, which would mean trying to appeal to the iPad babies, the TikTok brains, the fucking Fortnite Warzoners. You know, the ones that can't...
I disagree. Kids, every single kid is looking for a game to get lost in. The Fortnite babies are looking for an MMO to suck them in. Why do you think stories of isekai and anime are so popular? Dude, I haven't even fucking read an isekai or anything, but I know how popular they are. Everyone is looking to play this. Everyone wants to get lost in an MMO, just none have been good enough. Kids these days are not different from me being a kid. When I was a kid, I was looking for an MMO to suck all my time into. Because I grew up on mods. And I loved every single year I would look for some kind of MMO to suck my life into and waste my life in. Everyone is still looking for this. Kids these days, whether they're TikTokers or whatever, they're all looking for MMOs. Absolutely. That's why they watch animes. That's why the isekai is so popular in manga. That's why I mean, they like Fortnite is kind of like their MMO, but like that doesn't mean they're not looking for an MMO. They're absolutely looking for an MMO. I do not think you need to make like some like TikTok generation bullshit in order for an MMO to be successful. I think kids these days absolutely are looking to ruin their goddamn lives over a video game. This has never changed. This will never change. What does change though is the quality of the games.
Even hold their attention to short form content unless there is a video below the main content that has some car surfing on ramps so that their weird brains allow them to stay there. Dude, drop a 14-year-old into vanilla WoW Northshire and see how long it takes for their brains to start freaking out because there's not enough colors and numbers. The generation following
I
us
disagree completely.
is not gonna really be interested in this slower paced MMO style that we fell in love with. Why would they run around Elwyn Forest or go kill goblins in Lumbridge when in that same time frame they could have had 3 adrenaline pumping Warzone games to feel dopamine from? They don't chase the same numbers going up that we do. It makes me wonder if
they do. I disagree with him completely. Like maybe he's just met too many kids and he's like too jaded or whatever. But like, I think this doomer situation is completely incorrect. I think there's no reason to be a doomer. This is one reason one problem I have with doomers in general. Doomers in general are so jaded, they don't see the world for what it is. And they just think it's worse than it is in every single way. And he sounds extremely doomer here. There's no reason to be doomer over video gaming. Like, these games have been failures, sure. But there is always the possibility for a game to be good. If we never had in the past decade Baldur's Gate 3, Vampire Survivors, Valheim, Minecraft, Stardew Valley, a Dwarf Fortress, their launch was super successful. All these games, if we didn't have them, sure, be a doomer. But we've had all of these prime examples. And dude, I had one of my little cousins, his friend called me and was like, "Hey, can you explain to me how this game works?" And it was talking about Baldur's Gate 3. I was like, "Yeah, extremely easily. Let me explain it to you." And it was a fucking zoomer, man. It was an absolute zoomer.
Generation following us when they get to be our age, if they're going to be more interested in goal-oriented things like long-term MMO goals, I don't see new...
Everyone loves long-term progression. Every kid is searching for long-term progression. That's why they play shitty mobile MMOs. They just play shitty mobile MMOs. And they're not good. They don't stick with it. But, dude, who's playing the shitty mobile MMOs? Not you or me. It's kids. Kids are playing them. They're directed towards kids. And kids play them because kids are looking for, an MMO style experience. They want long-term progression.
They like grindy things. If they didn't like grindy things, why would they play 500 different matches of Fortnite in the span of a month? They love to grind. Good mobile MMOs shut down because Games Workshop are ass butts. Yeah. I mean, there can be good mobile MMOs. I've played good mobile MMOs Neon Knight. But, like, they don't exist anymore because they get shut down when they don't make enough money for investors and such. This is what happens. They're not dragging in the bucks like super giga crazy. And that's all they care about.
Generations coming into MMOs, and I don't see current MMO players jumping to a new one when they've already established their community and love for one that they've been a part of for years. I think the current games that we have in the MMO space are going to remain there, at least for as long as both the players and the devs have that desire. In order for an MMO to take the reins, become the next big thing, to really be the game changer, it's going to have to be very outside the box. Never done.
No, it doesn't have to be outside the box at all. It just has to be good. If outside the box means pay to win, then yes, it has to be outside that box. Because we've gotten a lot of pay to win bullshit. But it doesn't have to be something crazy. Like Ashes of Creation is not doing anything super crazy. It's just saying, hey, what are the pain points for MMO players? What do they want in a game? They want in-game housing? We'll put in-game housing. They want good RPG mechanics? We'll put good RPG mechanics. These aren't crazy things, man. They're just crazy because a lot of games don't do it anymore. They're not looking for anything super crazy. Yeah, City of Heroes, you know, exactly. Guild Wars 1. They didn't do anything crazy. They were just good games that fulfilled all of these ingredients. Good gameplay, good non-failed launch, not pay to win, not egregious microtransactions. They don't have dog shit clients. They have a good scope that fulfills the population. That's all you need. None of these things are outside the box. This is why I don't like a Doom review. It doesn't have to be a Doom review at all.
Before a big risk. Chances are the next MMO to really overtake these or
that
even see
with.
equal success as these hasn't even been thought of yet. But I just have this strange feeling that the next MMO that comes out that has 6 classes to choose from, a woodcutting skill, and 2004-ass fetch quests is not going to be the one to see themselves at the top of that hill with those. It's just a hunch. I don't know.
People like fetching. No, fetch quests work because when done right, it can be a part of a good game design. If that's all there is, it's bad. But if that's an ingredient in the soup, that's fine. It's supposed to be an ingredient in the soup. You know, I don't know. I don't agree with him here. I think he's completely wrong here, personally.
This Ashes of Creation game I've seen talked about for like the last 3 years is supposedly going to be the MMO that changes everything. They had this dev blog come out at the end of March, and I was like, okay, you know, this looks cool. And on the side of the screen, I see some quests about killing.
This is fine, because the problem is he's not looking at the context. Each one of these fetch quests changes how the in-game world is. This, like, the entire node system and everything. Like, that's the coolest thing about Ashes of Creation. There's nothing wrong with fetch quests if they're part of a larger world and they're done right. He's not looking at it with the context of how they're doing it or anything. That's why he's, like, looking at it so badly. Dude, this guy plays Old School RuneScape. All he does is fetch quests. What is he talking about, man? Like, half the shit in that game is fetch quests. I don't know, man. This is crazy, dude. It's like an endless grind in fucking Old School RuneScape. This is crazy. Flavortown, how you doing, man? Welcome, welcome. We've been talking for the past 4 hours. Great to have you in here, my friend.
20 goblins. And I'm like, no fucking way that this is the revolutionary thing. The next big MMO is not going to have kill 20 goblins as a fucking quest.
Like, I actually liked a lot of this guy's conversation, even though I disagreed with it. But, like, this is just completely incorrect. Like, this is just factually incorrect in every way. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, Jimmy, dude, you got to relook at this part, bro. This one is completely wrong.
20 might be a bit high.
promise,
No,
they've
it's
already
not.
lost in my eyes.
There was fetch quests in like World of Warcraft for getting like fucking 40 dog heads and stuff, man. Like, I don't know. Those were a little high. 20 is fine. 20 was like a normal number for pretty much every MMO. Yeah.
No way, there's just no way another one of those is gonna be the one to be up there. No. There's a few things that I believe the next big MMO needs to do differently. I think the number one priority is to come up with a structure that eliminates the locust swarm effect. Finish this as fast as possible. Get to max level as fast as possible. Get to the end game, the best in slot, the min-maxing as fast as possible.
He is absolutely correct here. As incorrect as he was in the previous part, he is correct on this part. One of the huge issues with a lot of MMOs is how quickly they get solved and how quickly everyone jumps on a meta train and just does everything just to get to max level as soon as possible, and they figure it out really simply and it's done. No one writes their character's story anymore. And that's the worst part of MMOs in general and worst part of the internet. Yeah, exactly. But like, yeah, I mean, I think I agree with him here. And this is solvable. This is not like it's some crazy thing. WoW is garbage, not because it's inherently garbage. No. World of Warcraft Classic is actually one of the best parts of World of Warcraft, even though it's completely a solved game. The reason is because it does a lot of other ingredients that make you enjoy the world experience. You actually can die in the world. You actually have to do group quests. You actually have an inherent storyline that spans continent to continent. They're ass-butt? I mean, they're ass-butt for you, but they're not ass-butt for millions of players, Ryan. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the generality here, bro. And like, dude, it's not even ass-butt for me, even though I know, like, the back of my hand, 99% of World of Warcraft quests. I've done all of those quests, but I'll still do them again because the journey was really wonderful, and it still is. But that's the thing. A lot of the MMOs these days don't create a good journey. I think what he's saying is they have to create a good journey that you want to complete with other players and be able to go through them as a true journey. And on that level, I completely agree with Jimmy here. This he's cooking on. This he is cooking on. And there's many ways to do it. I mean, World of Warcraft did it all the way back when. And I think other games can do it. Like Old School Runescape does that now. Like Old School Runescape becomes a journey. And Old School Runescape has a journey between the quests, between the progression, all kinds of different ways to make that journey memorable. And that game is made out of fucking blocks. Like, holy smokes. But that's another example.
It's a real shitty habit that we've developed with video games, especially MMOs recently. I think it's played such a big role in the overall downfall of MMOs, why everything feels underwhelming now. Unfortunately, I think as long as a game structure exists that allows for that kind of mentality, it's not going to find the success that it would have found back when we weren't playing games like that in the golden age of MMOs, when things were actually
I think it's rose-colored glasses.
That's why we want to play games solo now. It's why
I do think that this is why people play games solo now. Like, people do love playing games solo. It's because the game is designed to be played solo. And there's no incentive in terms of actual gameplay and also in terms of the narrative of your character's journey to play in the group. It's become a glorified single-player game. This is inherently true with retail WoW. That's why people play less retail WoW. And retail WoW has fixed some of those issues a little bit with Neo's Dragonflight. But, like, even that has its issues, for sure. So on this, I agree with the majority of his statement here.
Why you can get from level 1 to 70 playing by yourself in WoW.
And it's
that's
easy.
Not going to make for a successful MMO. You might as well just make a single-player game. Other MMOs would benefit a lot by trying a more RuneScape-style quest system, where it feels almost like a mission with a lot of benefits afterwards, rather than just this.
And there's also wacky things you're doing. Like, this guy was disguised as a goblin, and he's raising up a thingy, and he's using all these items and a various combination and stuff. And there's each quest has a little different storyline where you're doing something unique. That is one of the coolest parts of RuneScape. Completely agree with that. And having those types of quests is also very important. However, However, acting like RuneScape doesn't also have fetch quests is completely idiotic. It's completely incorrect. And it is obfuscating what the majority of RuneScape quests are. Like, that's the thing. Having a mix is totally fine. Having the fetch quest is totally fine as long as it builds into the greater part of a narrative. And as long as it builds into, like, dude, a lot of the best quests in World of Warcraft were glorified fetch quests built up into different parts with an inherent storyline put into each part. But in the individual sections of it, it still had various fetch mechanics. There's nothing wrong with that, but it was built into something greater. That's where the good design came in. Like, man, Varigan's Fist felt like an accomplishment. It was an accomplishment, and it also was like extremely hard to do. You could not do it solo. You had to go through dungeons. You had to go through it had like 20 different steps in the quest. It was insane to make Varigan's Fist. Like, it's same with Whirlwind Axe. Those are some of the most memorable quests in World of Warcraft for that reason.
Same generic copy-pasted coding of a quest of going and getting 10 mushrooms on a tree and bringing
Those
it back
had
for
aspects
XP.
of getting 10
It's the reason why a
mushrooms.
game like RuneScape, which people have always poked fun at its graphics, feels more alive than a game with
I agree with.
fucking Unreal Engine
The
5.
quest-
It's the way it feels when you're a part of that world. And I think a lot of MMOs kind of look the other way when it comes to structuring.
It's because he doesn't look at what the structure led to. He doesn't look at what exact part. Why was this quest? Hold on, let me move it. It's the People's Militia quest. This is the People's Militia quest where you just kill a certain number of trappers and smugglers. It's because this quest was like 6 different parts, and each part you're killing different versions of the Defias, and they're getting stronger and stronger, and it leads to the culmination of going to the dungeon. And like, each part has a different aspect of the narrative. It's not so simple. That's why. He's oversimplifying it here.
Things like that. They're too scared to try something else for progression. I don't know, they just play it too safe. The world has to feel alive, and everyone's
disagree.
end goal can't be the same. I'm not a game
Other games,
dev.
sure,
I'm just a consumer.
not these
I
games.
complain. My role here is to complain.
Right, that's
I'm
fair.
not the
Yeah.
guy. If I knew what this next MMO looked like, I would be trying to make it. I promise you
Right.
I would. I don't think any current game devs have really wrapped their head around what it takes to bring an MMO to the next level, but I think with a lot of emerging
I think plenty
game
are trying.
engines and technology we're capable of now,
Like the Dune
we're eventually
MMO.
going to see that thing that really makes our eyes
Like the Dune MMO is not doing anything super giga crazy. It's just doing a lot of things differently and very well. And I think like that'll have some fucking fetch quests in it. That'll have some like, base survival mechanics, which we're all used to by now. But it looks really good, and it looks like it's doing everything in a very relatively unique manner, in a good way, and that's all you need to do. And as long as it doesn't have, and as long as the gameplay is good, it doesn't have it doesn't have a failed launch, it doesn't have pay to win, it doesn't have it has very limited microtransactions, if any at all, and it doesn't have a dog shit client and game breaking bugs, and it has a good scope. People will play it, and it'll be a good MMO. Those are the only things it needs. It doesn't need to reinvent the wheel. It does not. Nothing needs to reinvent the wheel. It's the wheel. We still have the wheel. We don't have flying cars yet. Games are the same way.
widen and our mouths salivate. It's gonna happen. Could be a year from now, 10 years
Right.
from now. Our generation of MMO players, probably the only generation of MMO players, are going to be looking for that game, and we'll know it when we see it.
I don't know why I said that. Like, dude, older players and younger players are still looking for MMOs. Like I said, every single person who likes games is inadvertently yearning for something like an MMO. We just haven't found good MMOs. There's just been very, very few really good non-dog shit MMOs. Each MMO has a failure game design in some way that stops us from playing those games. Every single player of video games wants some kind of good MMO, even the most introverted ones. Dude, WoW players were the most dog shit introverted people. I was one of them. And I found my solace in MMOs. This is exactly what happened with a lot of
But
people.
for now, I think we're just going to be cozy in the games that we play. For a more optimistic
Until
look,
a good
if
one comes out.
RuneScape has taught
Yeah.
me anything, other MMOs have really
Nice
not
try.
experimented with shit. They have not really opened up the sandbox of themselves. The fact that World of Warcraft just recently released a hardcore version after it took someone developing an entire plugin
Right.
to do it just kind of shows how they haven't really tried shit yet. And the fact that they just tried a
Well, no, the thing is, like, he was talking about, like, you know, people needing to break the wall and everything, like, make, like, look outside the box and everything. You don't need to do that. Like, dude, all the devs did was, like, yeah, you know, we see this thing that someone's doing well. We're going to put it into our game, make it a little smoother, and bam, done and dusted. We just increased our player base by 1 million people. That's it. That's literally it. That's all they had to do. It wasn't outside the box. It wasn't something crazy complicated. It was completely copied off of someone else's idea. They didn't pay the guy who made, you know, hardcore WoW. God, no. Why would they ever do that? Why would they ever give credit where it's due? They don't give a shit. They just put it in the game. They made it smooth, and everyone played it, and we all loved it.
Battle Royale is even funnier. They're trying, you know, we'll
trying.
give it to them. Blizzard's trying.
The-
They might be 10 years
The
too
amount of development that World of Warcraft has done over the past 2 years is actually crazy. Season of Discovery is huge. Plunderstorm was huge, and it hit a lot of people. They should have made it free. They didn't make it free. That was a design decision that they fucked up on. They should have released Plunderstorm as essentially a free DLC that anyone could download, whether they play World of Warcraft or not. And that would have increased the WoW player base like so fucking much. Because Plunderstorm was legit fun, and it bridged a lot of different other game genres. And, you know, it like fucking Fortnite people were watching it and everything like that. It was crazy, man. It was absolutely crazy. It was really, really, really cool. And that could have been a very, very, very interesting, you know, way to grow the game. And that was like, you know, that's a bit of a slip at the end. But, you know, the amount of work that they put into Plunderstorm was really cool. Mists of Pandaria, the remix thing, looks really dope. We haven't really covered it, and we will. But it looks really, really interesting and dope. And you know, the hero specs are a little lackluster, but, you know, Dragonflight introduced all of the big game changes for the leveling, for the skills, for your talents and everything. And those were huge W's. There's been a lot of W's in World of Warcraft recently. And it's shocking because we've just been used to like a decade of L's and nothing but L's. So it's nice to see.
late to the Battle Royale boom we mentioned earlier, but they're trying.
They are
We've gotta
trying.
give them that
Really
credit.
hard,
Blizzard has done
shockingly hard.
everything in their power to self-destruct, and they're still standing. It's incredible.
Yep,
If they're not
it is
going
incredible.
down by
Yeah.
now, they're never going down. All right.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
That
never,
company's
but
here to
I think
stay,
they're
which gives
doing
me
better now.
confidence that other MMOs will be here to stay too. So we don't really have anything to worry about when it comes.
If Dragonflight was a Shadowlands level failure, WoW would be dead. Like, maybe not dead, but it would be on literal life support. There's no way. If the fall of Shadowlands happened from BFA to Shadowlands, if it happened with Dragonflight as well, and they did nothing, no WoW Classic, no Burning Crusade Classic, you know, none of this, no hardcore, no iterations at all, it'd be dead. Like, no one would be fucking playing World of Warcraft now. That's the thing. They didn't do it. They fixed a lot of those things, which is huge. They deserve credit for it. But they had every chance to fail. Every chance. They almost
to
did.
our favorite games, our cozy home base being gone. And I think a lot of MMOs need to take advantage of this world that they've created and the different capabilities their engines have, and look and see how they can approach things differently, like RuneScape has with hardcore modes, Iron Man modes, and region locks with leagues,
little bit, yeah.
restricted game modes,
Some of
challenges,
these.
people like
I don't
watching.
think a good MMO needs a billion different modes. I think the only reason RuneScape does is because it's super old and they're not continuously developing like a bunch of giga crazy quests. It's inherently a pretty solved game. They're still adding stuff to it, but it's not nearly at the pace of a World of Warcraft. It's not nearly at the pace of any other, you know, current gen MMO. Just in terms of scope, in terms of size, in terms of complexity, in any way, shape, or form. It's not even close to the level of same dev resources needed. I'm sorry, it's really not. There's nothing wrong with that. The scope fits the player base. Like I said, that last one, that's number 6, scope fitting the population and player base, is super important. Like, dude, absolutely. And the RuneScape scope fits the population. They don't need to do anything too crazy. So they're not doing it, and it's totally fine.
Challenges. And I think a lot of the big MMOs nowadays have the ability to implement something like that to keep their current active player bases
I don't think this is necessary.
occupied and entertained for a long time. And
Dude, Final Fantasy 14 players don't want a hardcore mode, man. They want to be little cat girls doing little dances at Gold Saucer and doing ERP. And, you know, having a raid every now and then and stuff. They don't give a shit about a hardcore mode. The World of Warcraft player base, even though we played hardcore, is because we didn't have anything better. As soon as Season Discovery came out, and it's a lot better than playing hardcore, everyone stopped playing hardcore. Hardcore is relatively dead now. It still exists on some small level, but it's not even close to the same level. The reason people played hardcore was because we had nothing else and we were fucking bored. As soon as they made Season Discovery, everyone dropped hardcore like a sack of hot potatoes for Season Discovery. It was only a placeholder. These Iron Man modes and everything like that is only a placeholder. Certain small segments of the population love them, but they're always a giga small minority. That absolutely is what it is.
all that being said, I
get
truly
bored,
hope
yeah.
I look like an idiot a week from today when that next big thing is announced. I hope I'm wrong. I really
yeah,
do.
I agree.
I think there's a future for MMO.
I agree with this energy from him. We all hope we're wrong about the worst things. We want ourselves to be wrong. We want games to be successful. We want a good MMO to come out that shatters all of our expectation. We're waiting for it to happen. And I think that's what he forgot in the middle of his thing where he's acting all doomer about like, we're never going to get another MMO. No, we are. We absolutely are. 100%. We're all waiting for it. I think that's what it is. I think he's just looking at it as a glass half empty situation. And I do it from the opposite side. But inherently, we agree.
And we'll
with
all
most
be
of
here
it.
for it. Anyway, I think that's all I got. I've been putting together the house video. It's just
I have no idea what
5
this is.
days
Dude, that's a lot of
A lot
characters.
of footage. It's a lot
I
of
have
fun.
no idea
Don't
what
get
this
me
is,
wrong.
though.
I also have a special project I can't really talk about right now, but I'm working on that beginning of May. Other than that,
It's gonna
been
be
a pleasure.
May.
Great seeing you. Take it easy.
There we go. Oh my god. Dude, they're even punching with no clothes on. There's only like 5 other people in the background, and there's still input lag, man. There's still issues with the game engine for New World. This just shows how dog shit New World was, man. Oh my god, they're not even wearing gear in his dog shit. It's so bad. Holy shit. It's so sad how bad it was, man. Yeah, the loincloths, exactly. Oh my god. Oh my god. It was a good video. This was a very, very good video. I mean, this definitely sparked discussion. Like, he sparked a lot of things I disagreed with, but like, you know, and it's like kind of like I don't think he understood his whole premise the entire time. So I think he was kind of getting mixed up. He was kind of like looking at it from a doomer perspective and everything like that. But, you know, overall, very good video. And I'm definitely going to give it a like, and shit, I'll even give him a sub. There we go. Give it a like, give it a sub. And I will definitely be looking forward to more videos, because I really liked how this guy made his video. It was a really cool narrative discussion. And I think it sparked some really interesting discussion in chat. So if guys like the video, give it a like, give it a sub, help it with the algorithm gods, and I hope you enjoy. We love to talk gaming. We love to talk gaming news. We love to have open discussions, and I do love to cover MMOs as much as every single other genre of game as well. Guys, quick BRB, I gotta pee.